Hello, Care Bear here to share with you another finished gift. These are the Heartwarming Frenchie Mittens by Jenny Penny, and they are a free pattern on Ravelry. And I picked this pattern because I have family and friends who have little Frenchies, and I just knew this was going to be a hit. But I have to tell you, that's why I picked them. But when I started working with the pattern, oh my goodness, the amazing detail that Jenny Penny has put into this pattern is phenomenal. So let me tell you all the beautiful pieces, and then I'll give you the detail about how I made these mittens. But check out the cuff. Look at that nice edging on the cuff. Then the cuff is also got a little bit of eyelet. Cute. I just love that. Then you'll notice the Latvian braids right here with an accent color. So there's a main color, a contrast color, but there's also an accent color that you put into the Latvian braid and this striping between the two Latvian braids. Brilliant. Then after, you don't see it as well, but after the Latvian braid, there is a row right here. Oops, this way after the Latvian braid. It's really hard to see, but there is a little bit of an eyelet in there. And yeah, then you go into the brilliant pattern, the chart to create that Frenchie, and on the opposite side, they have the paw. So many lovely details in this pattern. It calls for fingering weight yarn, a US 1.5. I used a 2.5 millimeter when I created these mittens. And I used all leftovers that I had in my stash. So the gray is a Drops Flora, and it is color 04. So I think that's a medium gray. And I used 25 grams of the gray for these mittens. The cream is a acrylic alpaca yarn that a friend of mine had picked up in a thrift shop, and I think it's a little bit thicker than a fingering weight yarn. And I used 20 grams of that. And then this accent yarn that you see included in the Latvian braid, as well as in between the Latvian braids for that cuff, that striping. That's a laying yarn. It's the Millie Colliery socks, the Lace Lux. I used that in some socks that I just made previously, and I still had some left over, and it's just really brilliant color with some purple and orange and rust, and so I thought I'd put that in as an accent color for these mittens. And I used only 3 grams of that accent. So 25 grams of the gray, 19 grams of the cream, and then 3 grams of the accent color. I will tell you that this pattern is only one size. So, but I think it's pretty, I have really tiny hands, so it might be a little bit bigger. And I think mine also turned out a little bit bigger because of that cream color alpaca yarn, alpaca acrylic. It isn't a fingering weight. It's a little bit more than that. So I think that creates for more volume in the mitten. Anyway, yeah, so let me tell you about the construction of these beautiful mittens. So it starts at the cuff. You work that cuff lace pattern, which then creates the pointed edges, which is really super easy. It's just yarn over and knit 2 together and slip, slip, knit stitches to create that cuff. And then you move into working on the Latvian braid. If you don't know how to do the Latvian braid, I put a link into the description down below. I often go to Very Pink or to Nimble Needles for some technical support, but there's lots of YouTube videos that will teach you how to do that Latvian braid. And if you didn't want to, I mean, I guess you could leave it out. So you do the Latvian braid and then you work with the contrast color and the accent color in between, and you're just knitting, but you're knitting one color and then the other color. And then you finish off again with a Latvian braid with the accent and the contrast color. The first time you're doing the Latvian braid, it's the accent with the main color, which in my case is the gray. Then the next row or round after the second Latvian braid, it is a lacy yarn over knit two together. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it very well, but there is that little bit of, and maybe because I didn't block it enough to be able to see that detail, but yeah, it is definitely in there. And then you move on to do the pattern of the mitten, the front being the hearts and the face of the Frenchie, which I think is so beautifully done. And on the underside, it's this design with the paw. And you'll notice at the side, she's done a great job at making this nice contrast and main yarn trim of the vertical lines, both on the right and the left hand side of the mitten. You put the thumb on hold as you're moving up through the patterns, and then when you get up to this point where you're finished for the hand, you start to decrease for the fingering section. And yeah, then you go back and pick up for the thumb, and there is a separate chart for the thumb. It's the same on the both sides of the thumb, and you knit in the round. Same thing. She has a brilliant edging with those vertical lines on the thumb as well. And then you decrease as you get to the top of the thumb in the same way that you're decreasing the stitches for the top of the mitten. And then you sew in your edges. So these are the brilliant Heartwarming Frenchie Mittens. I added my KarebearKnitwear tag on there. I guess I should turn it this way so you can see it. When I fold it in half, it says Bear Wear, Care Knit. And I put that always on my mittens that I create for family and friends. And so I was really super happy with these mittens. I love that cuff. I love the design for these Frenchies. I love the paws on the inside. I think this just turned out brilliant. It is going to be a gift for family member, and I'm definitely doing another set. I have more. I think everybody in I think all our families have puppies and pets and significant little extra family members. So I try to create gifts that include these little family members in them. And so I'm really happy with the Frenchie Mittens. And I think you should check out Jenny Penny's Ravelry page, because I went there and she has so many other patterns that I found. She has a pug pattern it's so cute. It even says pug on the thumb. So I think I'm going to pick those up and make those as well. So check out Jenny Penny's site if you have pets and that you want to make, or you have pets and you want to make mittens or hats. She has all kinds of knitwear that includes graphics of little puppies. So thanks for watching. These are the heartwarming Frenchie Mittens.